hope you're all doing well. It's another episode of the Self-Care Diaries. And today I have a really, really interesting, fabulous Lois Wagner with me today. How are you doing, Lois?
Hi, Lee. I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm good. It's a beautiful day in Johannesburg. The sun is out.
Yes,
And I'm
it
actually
is finally.
in months that I've been able to wear heels. So I'm super excited.
That's fabulous.
So tell us, who's Lois Wagner?
Wow. How much time have you got?
At least 20 minutes.
All right. So I don't know if you want to talk about me as a person or me as my business.
Who do you feel comfortable talking about today?
All right. Well, maybe I should just praise that whole thing by saying that I am my business. So basically what I do is I help people move from victim to survivor to thriver and beyond to freedom after facing some kind of a life or business challenge or adversity. So I have had a very challenging life, and basically I've used all my life experience to deliver what I deliver today. So people would say I'm a survivor, but survivor means struggle. So no, I'm not a survivor, I'm a thriver, and I fly free.
That's beautiful. I love that. I've always felt that survivor still has a tinge of victim attached to it, whereas thriver really talks about, as you say, from thriving to freedom and beyond. Really beautiful. So what value do you bring to the world?
Well, I think I always say smile with Lois. So I've made S.M.I.L.E. S is my storytelling and my speaking. M is mentoring. I is inspiring. L is learning. I facilitate workshops. And E is empowering through coaching. So what value I bring is I use my S.M.I.L.E. formula to help people realize what they need to do in order to thrive. So the values I bring is I share my story. I'm very open. I'm incredibly vulnerable. I share my story and I use it as lessons on how to thrive in life and business.
So are there any elements of your story you would like to share with us today?
I think the biggest one is forgiveness. I discovered forgiveness some many years ago now, and it is such a powerful, powerful thing. And people are very afraid to forgive. They say, how can I forgive the unforgivable? But forgiveness is not about, it's not about condoning or accepting what the other person has done. It's not saying they can get away with it or that they will do it again. When you don't forgive, what happens is you are bound to that situation or to that person, and they've gone on with their lives. Usually they've forgotten about you, and you still have the angst or the anger or the fear or the sadness, whatever that emotion is. But if you learn to forgive, what it does, it breaks that tie. It actually physically breaks that bond that is holding you to that situation. And if people can accept that and find a way to forgive themselves and others, and forgiving yourself. Sometimes it's for little things, for making a mistake, for saying something out of context. Forgiveness really, really sets you free. And that's what I aim to help other people do. Find that freedom through the forgiveness.
It's so beautiful. In AA and NA, we talk about not allowing someone to live rent-free in our head, and how certain we churn over that unforgiveness and resentment and anger. And when we do that, we allow people to live, almost hijack our experience, our presence, of the power of now. They hijack. We allow them to hijack that in us.
When I first discovered forgiveness was many years ago now. I had a business partner who betrayed me, and he put the business into liquidation, and I lost everything, went deep into debt. And I can't remember how long after that event, but I called him up. We had a beer and I forgave him. And it was amazing because I was so full of hatred. I used to say to friends, if I saw him in the streets, I would ride him over in my car. And now we will have a passing conversation. So that is what forgiveness done. What he did was wrong, and he deserves whatever punishment or whatever he has to deal with. But it's not my concern anymore. I'm past it, and that is what that helped. So that was my first forgiveness. But my biggest forgiveness was I was attacked and raped and left for dead. And the rapist was caught and he was given a 25-year prison sentence. And 14 years after, and it was quite a coincidental situation. I was living outside of South Africa at the time, and I was coming home for my first holiday. And for some reason, I hadn't made any approaches towards the authorities in the 14 years. For some reason, I decided to find out if he was still incarcerated. And they told me that he was having his parole hearing the day after I arrived in South Africa. It was just too much of a coincidence, especially since the law had just changed, allowing victims, as they call it, victims of crime, to attend a parole hearing. So I was the first person in South Africa to actually attend a parole hearing. And I forgave the rapist.
Wow, Lois. I mean, like, one of those experiences is, I'm going to swear, a head fuck. But to have gone through the loss of your business, a rape, and then have to sit in a parole hearing, that's some radical experiences of how you've chosen to embrace forgiveness. I mean, those are massive hurdles to overcome. And I'm sorry that you've experienced that, but I'm also incredibly proud of you and how you've overcome those experiences of adversity to discover forgiveness within yourself, and then to share that hope, experience, and strength with other people. Wow, that's amazing.
And that's what part of self-care actually is. When you forgive, you're actually caring for yourself. So it's such a large part of how to take care of yourself. And it wasn't easy for me. When I discovered the formula, it's quite easy. The first thing is you just have to make up your mind that you can forgive. And it doesn't mean I'm going to go and forgive you tomorrow. You might have to go through a process to get there. Sometimes it takes a quicker time than others. When I forgave my partner, it was spontaneous. I never thought I was going to forgive him, but I did. And with the rapist, I went with a plan. Still not sure if I would do it, but I went. I prepared it. I prepared a whole speech, and when I got there, it was just the right thing to do, and it just came.
And when you gave him at the parole hearing, was he set free?
I have no idea.
Oh, wow.
And that to me is the power of this forgiveness, because the authorities said to me they would let me know in 7 days what the outcome of the parole hearing was. And I just said, no, I don't want to know. You don't have to tell me. I don't want to know. It's got nothing to do with anymore. I'd broken that tie completely from
energetic, like cord, if you will, the energetic. Yeah, wow, that's amazing. My workshops that I run on self-care, one of the elements of it is forgiveness. And I've got a questionnaire that I've devised from various people's work that's very powerful. And one of the questions that's in there, when I saw it for the first time, I was like, wow. And it goes something along the lines of, who do you think you'll be if you forgive? Like, what are you giving up when you forgive? And I was like, sure, that was really powerful. And then the best book I've ever read on forgiveness, hands down, has to be not Dalai Lama, Desmond Tutu and Paul, the Book of Forgiveness. And I did their 21-day challenge to forgive my adoptive parents for the abuse that they put me through. And I don't have a relationship with them today, and that's okay. But I don't feel that, that resentment and anger towards them. I've set them free, and I'm very grateful to them for everything that they've given me. But I also acknowledge that in order to keep myself safe, I need to have a boundary in place. But that freedom to forgive has been very powerful. And also to look at the gift in what they gave me. I've also been raped, and I've also gone through a process of forgiveness. And I realized, for me, what I learned from that experience was that like bad shit happens to good people, and I am a coach and a counselor and a workshop leader, facilitator, professional speaker, and I hold space for people to heal. And I guess before I was born, I decided that there were a variety of experiences I needed to have in order to hold space for other people to heal. And I'm assuming that one of those was to experience what rape was like. And more so, less about the actual rape, but the process of forgiveness. And so it's been a very interesting process in my life to come to that place of forgiveness. The other thing that was really cool for me in my studies around forgiveness is that I thought forgiveness is like a one-time event. But it's not. It's like we got to because we have been so unforgiving for years. We can't just go, okay, I choose to forgive, and choops, it's gone. I realized that for some, I had to forgive over and over a number of times in my mind. I had to be willing to forgive, and then eventually that cord or that energetic tie was severed. Have you heard?
I think it goes to how much work you do on it, because if you've thought it through and you've thought about the impact it's had on your life and you've evaluated that, then it actually can be a lot quicker. So I think each situation is very, very different depending on how it has impacted your life.
Amazing. Yeah, I guess it does depend on how deep the wound goes. If it's a small infringement, then I'm sure a quicker process is available. Have you heard of Ho'oponopono?
Oh, I've studied it.
Amazing. Tell our viewers about Ho'oponopono. It's so amazing.
Well, it is so simple, and it's woo-woo. It's really powerful. And when I'm sitting at my computer and I'm writing or working, I actually play a beautiful song that I've found on Ho'oponopono, and it works at a subconscious universal energy, and it's just the words, I'm sorry, please forgive me, I love you, and I thank you. And you can say it in any order. It's often, I'm sorry, please forgive me, I love you, and I thank you, or I thank you, I love you. It doesn't really matter, but it just works on that energetic level. The man who brought it to the Western world, it's an Hawaiian concept, and they use it especially in communities when somebody in the community has done something wrong. They gather the person up into the community and they say this, they call it a prayer, and they say this prayer and they help this person sort of reconnect with the community. The man who brought it to the Western world, he was working at a psychiatric hospital, and he didn't even see a patient. He sat outside with all the patient's files and folders and was reading it and saying this prayer over and over. And it was remarkable, the recovery of so many of these insane people, or so-called insane people in this asylum. And so he brought it to the Western world, and it is so simple. It does require a little bit of letting go and a little bit of just believing in it, But even if you don't believe it, if you keep saying those words, it works, it helps.
It's amazing. The place that I've seen it transform me, like within a blink of an eye, is with the taxi drivers. If somebody just cuts in front of me, and then I go, pono pono, pono pono. Hapara. Sometimes I'm like, hapara.
But it's also if you can understand what their problem is and where, that they have an issue, and you mustn't allow it to impact on you. It's incredibly beautiful and incredibly powerful.
Yeah, no, it's really good. I really encourage our listeners to go and watch, and viewers to go and have a look at Ho'oponopono. I'll put it in the link of the social media posts, and you can go and have a look. So what is your latest passion project?
Well, I'm just starting on it now. I'm falling a bit behind my own deadline. I've got two. One is my book. I started writing the day I was raped. I started writing a journal with every intention of publishing it. And it just carried on and on and on, and it became a vomit of my life. And I couldn't get to a conclusion. And then finally, when I forgave, I thought, well, that's the conclusion. And then I just never got to write it. Things got in my way. And it's now in edit. It's finally going to see the light of day.
Fantastic. Congratulations. That's a massive, I've written, in the process of writing a couple of books, and the blood, sweat and tears and the courage that it takes to get up after a dark night of the soul, recalling a very painful and traumatic event, is sublime. And just filled with grace. So well done. I look forward to seeing those on the shelf. And your second project?
It's called Brave, and the objective is to eradicate sexual violence. And everyone says you can't eradicate it, but why not? Let's eradicate it. And you can't teach boys and men not to rape, and women. There's women who do that as well. You can't teach people, you can't teach people not to murder or steal. It's part of your value system. And so instead of teaching people not to do things, let's teach them to be brave. And so I'm starting my Brave project, and it's teaching people to consider boundaries. What are your boundaries? What are your partner's boundaries? What are the other person's boundaries? And then the R is respect. Whatever the other person's boundaries are, respect them. A is agreement, and agreement is not an absence of no. Agreement is an enthusiastic yes. V is about the values, understanding the other person's values, respecting their values, and also having vulnerability. Vulnerability has always been considered a weakness, and vulnerability is actually a huge strength. And we need, especially men, to show that vulnerability and to be able to reveal who they are and how they feel. And then the E is about empowerment, and it's about equality, and it's about empathy. So that's my Brave formula. And I'm planning on running a summit. I ran a summit in March on rape and resilience, try and further trauma. I had 43 speakers from around the world.
Amazing.
And it was a lovely lineup of speakers, survivors, therapists. It was really an incredible collection of speakers. And so I'm planning on doing something similar now with Brave.
Amazing. Oh, Lois, so amazing. I interviewed Shukri Tufi this week, and he spoke about the power of journaling, but he also spoke about hashtag Men Standing Up. And he's part of the Mosaic magazine here in South Africa, have started a hashtag Men Standing Up against GBV. So what thought leaders do you follow, or would you like to share with us? Who's top of mind? What are you reading at the moment?
I don't read so much anymore as research. I'm always researching the latest thinking and the latest, but obviously books, Man's Search for Meaning, those kind of books. My sister's book, Dancing, Dancing in the Shadows. Uh, my sister, unfortunately, has left this world now. But she wrote a book. She was an alternative healer, and she wrote a book on various experiences that she had as a healer and how it works. So I dip into that often. But yeah, I don't have any books that I'm currently reading. As I say, I dip in and out and research. Mr. Google, that's what I read.
Yeah, there's such amazing stuff out there. So what last thought would you like to leave with the viewers today?
Forgive yourself. It doesn't matter, even the little things. Just accept what you're going through. Whatever it is, it's okay. If you're angry, whatever that emotion is, feel it, accept it, and then find an alternative and start moving towards the alternative. And there's tools and steps on how to do that. Don't ignore the feeling. Don't say, it's okay. So many people say, I'll get over it, or I want to keep on hating. It's okay to hate. It's okay to be angry. Accept it, feel it, live with it for a while, and then find a way to move from it. So it's accept and then move towards that forgiveness, the forgiveness of self and the forgiveness of others. And you might think, it's only a little thing, but it goes into your subconscious and it sits there and it'll come back to bite you at a later point in your life. So move on from it. I'll briefly just share another story with you. About 2 years after I was raped, my back just gave in, and the doctor said I had to have a back operation. And I had the back operation, and then it didn't work. I had a second back operation. It didn't work. The surgeon said I used to be a keen hiker and scuba diver, and he said I would never do those things again because I could never carry anything on my back. And I was bedridden for months and months and months. And there were a couple of things that helped me through that. And one was to understand that I hadn't dealt properly with the rape. What had happened when I was raped, all my friends were saying, I went public and I became an activist and I went to change the world. And everybody was saying, Lois, you're so strong, you're so brave, you're so strong, we're so proud of you, you're so brave. Look at me, look how brave and strong I am. And what happened when my back collapsed, it made me depend on other people. It made me feel that weakness. And so I had to face that and say, afterwards, different doctors told me there was nothing. They looked at my x-rays. They said there was nothing wrong with my back. The whole thing was psychosomatic. So once I dealt with that, and also it was about forgiving those friends for calling me brave. They were doing the right thing. I was interpreting it in a wrong way. So I couldn't go to them and say, hey, I forgive you for calling me brave. So it was a ritualistic forgiveness. I didn't actually say anything to anybody face to face, but I had to forgive them and say, you didn't know that was causing me harm. So I forgive you.
And I think you said earlier that being vulnerable is being brave. Allowing ourselves to share, and when we ask somebody to help us, when we're vulnerable what our needs are and we ask for our needs to be met, it's a gift we give somebody else. We give ourselves a gift, but we also give somebody else the gift of giving to us. And that's I can see how that's a really beautiful process that you went through. Lois, how can people get hold of you?
Well, the easiest way is my name. If you had to look, loiswagnercoaching.com. I've got a web page and a Facebook page. And then also easy to remember, Walking Without Skin. That's the title of my book, and it's the title of my Facebook page as well, and a web. So you can just look at Lois Wagner, Lois at loiswagnercoaching.com.
Amazing. Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing. You and I have been wanting to do this interview for a while. So I'm so glad that our diaries synced today that we could do it. I honor you and I honor the journey that you've been on, that all the decisions you've made that have gotten great and shit decisions that you've made to be able to put your bum in your seat today so that I could share some time with you and bring some hope to our viewers. From the bottom of my heart, I thank you.
Thank you. And just as a quick goodbye, is I have a free ebook called Ignite Your Mojo. So it's about getting happiness. So if anybody wants a copy of that, they can write to me and I can get them a copy.
So thank you very much for listening in today and hearing this very brave lady share her journey with us, Lois. Thank you for joining us today. I wish you a blessed day. Lots of love. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Good day. I hope you're well. So the Self-Care Diaries is everything about self-care. And so today I thought that I'd introduce you to the self-care kit that we've created. But before I do that, I'd like to share a quote with you by Audre Lorde, where she said, "Caring for myself is not self-indulgence. It is self-preservation. And that is an act of political warfare." So I think that political warfare in this instance has got to do with fighting with that belief that we're not important and that we've got to put other people first. And often we then pour from an empty cup. So we've created a product that we're very, very excited about and has been going to far corners of South Africa. And I thought I'd share it with you today. So it comes in this beautiful organza bag. And there is a journal with a pen. Sorry, the pictures are a bit funny. There's a journal with a pen. And then there are 6 cards in this little bag. And the 6 cards relate to the 6 areas of life, being spiritual. I don't know if you're going to be able to read. Spiritual, emotional, psychological, professional, physical, and personal. And there's a card in here that shows you how to use the kit. And then there's a bonus card where you can email me and I will send you your ebook on self-care. So how does this work is that you choose a card out of the 6. So let's say I'm going to choose that one. And today it's a physical card that I've chosen. And there's 1 to 6 prompts on each card. And let's say 3 is mine. And it says, today take some time off and plan a holiday. That is a really awesome idea. And I'm planning a holiday at the end of September. But I think today I could think about what are the kinds of things I could do on that holiday. So that I'll make a note to do today. And so each day you get to choose something new to do. And then you use your beautiful journal here to journal your experience and make your plans and create magic. Like Shukri Tufi said in our one YouTube video, please go check it out. It's really interesting about the power of journaling and how the energy of something changes. He said the energy of something changes when you write it down. The frequency of something changes. And it's so good to get something out of our head and onto paper, because then we get some objectivity and we're able to gain some more self-awareness. So if you'd like to order a self-care kit, please go and look at my website, www.leighjoy.co.za, and that's leighjoy.co.za, and you'll go to the shop and then you'll see the self-care kits there. I'm wishing you a beautiful day.